Hello and welcome to Tournament Dustbowl, and we do have, as the red Steel Talons in the top side, we do have Bikerushownz and Tomer as the R17 in the bottom. We do have these two players, which if you don't know who Tomer is, I did cast a game fairly recently between Tomer and Masterleaf, and it was pretty awesome. Bikerush, if you haven't heard of him, I have a couple of games on my channel with him, so, both of these players are fairly well known in the Kane's Wrath scene. And I have games of both of them. They are both pretty darn good players, and we are going to see who exactly is going to win this game. And we do have buzzer squads going out for Tomer, and I have actually seen the beginning of this match, but I was not recording the audio. So I've seen like the first 4 minutes, and here we go. A buzzer squad from Tomer is going to be able to assassinate that engineer, and that is super annoying for Bikerush. He does have a second engineer up there, but I was not recording the audio from my mic. So I realized that about 4 minutes in, because I realized that I had not re-enabled that on Fraps, and so I was like, oh, wow. So I've actually already seen the beginning of this, so hopefully I will not miss anything, but that is not... I might miss some stuff despite that. But I have seen this, and we do have going for some harvesters. Tomer is going to be getting 2 harvesters with that 1 extractor, and we do have a rifleman squad going to be taking a look around, seeing exactly what he can find, and this buzzer hive will of course eliminate that rifleman squad quite easily. And actually, no, that rifleman squad might actually get out of range. Buzzers are going to try and hunt them down, but not able to get them, so that rifleman squad will live to fight another day, and this engineer is heading down the side of that map, going to be trying to do something sneaky, probably. And Bikerush is going to be going for 2 harvesters and not building a third, and he is going to be going for another refinery, it does look like, giving him 2 and 3. 3 harvesters, and then those 2 refineries, and we do have Tomer going to be moving his drone ship, most likely to expand over here, and then getting some Devourer tanks, which, take note, these are charged up Devourer tanks, so they do quite a bit more damage. So Tomer going to be moving out with a couple of Devourer tanks, which we just now dropping down that Titan for Bikerushownz, and also getting the command post so that he can grab that advanced turbines upgrade. I don't know why I always say turbines, but turbines upgrade, and immediately selling it off, going to get a rifleman squad, but more importantly getting that airfield, which actually is going to be quite good versus these corruptors and Devourer tanks, which were spotted by the rifleman squad. And also this expansion was spotted, and oh, this engineer is going to get totally owned by that buzzer hive. But we do have, so Tomer is going to be moving in with a couple of Devourer tanks and a couple of corruptors, but these orcas from Bikerush are going to be, of course, the perfect counter, because, hey, these stuff doesn't attack air, which of course you always want to be moving out with a balanced strike force. But it does look like Bikerush was able to scout it quite early on, get those orcas out in time, playing reactionary, and it is going to turn out pretty well for him, at least in this engagement. We do have just a single Titan, which this Titan is not going to be able to deal with both of those charged up Devourer tanks, and this rifleman squad just not going to be enough, and going to be trying to focus down the orcas, not going to get it. These orcas are probably not full on bombs, but they will, yeah, that one only had 2 bombs, but they will have enough to take out, 1.5 Devourer tanks. And can he get it? No, not quite get it. Do not think this Devourer tank will be able to escape, and there goes the rockets. Not enough to finish it off, but these harvesters are going to be just fine, getting off 1 more shot. But Bikerush does have his war factory placed in a very good position, meaning that he gets free repairs when his harvesters dock up, and it does look like Tomer has taken a little bit of damage on the harvester, but he is up to 4 and 2, and he is getting out the Shardwalkers, just now getting that 5th harvester, getting caught up on that Shardwalker a little bit, delaying it just by a moment. And Bikerush needs to get his economy online, because with this expansion, if this expansion gets online, Tomer will be able to rush ahead in the economy and absolutely crush Bikerush in the long term, unless Bikerush is able to do some serious damage. But neither of these players have been able to grab that Tiberium spikes, partially from the buzzer squad, from Tomer early on was able to do a little bit of damage, and these orcas are most likely going to be going for the shielded harvesters, and they are going to have a little bit of trouble with the shardwalkers, which shardwalkers are the Reaper 17 gunwalkers, and they do a fair amount of damage, as you can see, able to take out one of those orcas right there. But it does look like Tomer is going to be, or Bikerush is going to be expanding over to this field on the left side, which is of course kind of like your natural expansion. Where are you going, Heavy Harvester? Possibly a bad rally point, or possibly for some reason that harvester is going to auto harvest from over there, which is absolutely silly. But we are now up to 5 and 2 for Bikerush and 5 and 2 for Tomer as well, and Shardwalkers are going to be moving over there, possibly because he thought that there were some orcas on the way, but the orcas one of them have been rebuilt, so a little bit of extra cash being spent by Bikerush, but those orcas are, of course, quite good in almost all stages of the game, and that harvester is going to be going the long way, only to get caught up on these two refineries, so that harvester is going to be living a life of just running around trying to please everyone and dropping down that nerve center so that he can use that Ichor seed, which, oh man, Ichor seed can be such a huge disappointment and such a huge waste of money sometimes. Like, if you get the placement wrong, I don't know what sort of coding or algorithm they use to determine what sort of Tiberium you are going to get out of that, and also out of the seed Tiberium for Nod, but, I mean, sometimes you get like half a crystal and it's like, yeah, well, it's just awful, but sometimes you get like 4,000 credits worth of stuff, but able to take out one of the harvesters there. That's not a huge deal. It is annoying, and it is, of course, hurting the economy of Tomer just a little bit, but Tomer is at least slightly ahead in the economy just because the economy for Bikerush was a little bit delayed, and now we do have Seeker tanks, no Gunwalker support, yes, the Gunwalker support, or Shardwalker support right here, and the Orcas, between the Orcas and the Titans, Bikerush should be able to clean this up with little problems. Actually losing power there, that is super annoying, and he does not have, because he sold off his command post, he does not have that AP ammo upgrade, which this attack will do quite a bit of damage. I think they were able to take out at least one Orca there, but the Orca is going to be evacuating because they are not going to be very much good, as they were not able to gas up, or actually, well, I guess, re-ammunition up. But the Shardwalker is going to be able to clean up these infantry, no problem. But these two Titans should be able to push this attack out, and a single Shardwalker, I guess, going for the counterattack, for the flank, for the harassment, and re-dropping down that command post, possibly to tech up to a tech center, or actually, if he has spotted these Storm Riders, then he is going to want to get out some AA batteries as soon as possible, or as the cool kids say, ASAP. But it does not look like he is going to be going for, actually he might be going for a AA battery or a watchtower. Yes, he does have 2 AA batteries over here and a slingshot or 2 going to be out here, but this is where he needs them, and actually this slingshot finishing at the perfect time, and Storm Riders can take quite a bit of damage, quite a surprising amount of damage, but one of the harvesters goes down, and these Storm Riders will have to evacuate on out of there before they take any more losses, and actually able to grab that Tiberium Spike, so another slight advantage for Tomer in the economy, and these Titans are not going to be able to do very much damage. They will be able to do a little bit of damage, take down a single Shardwalker, but of course, they're going to be completely outgunned. Oh, and the Orca's going down as well, completely outgunned by these Storm Riders, of course, with no anti-air support. Those Titans were just getting totally owned, but actually Tomer able to grab both of the Tiberium Spikes, which is, of course, well, I mean, it basically negates the cost of the Engineer, which, considering that Bikerush lost both of his engineers early on, that is just never a good thing, and actually almost perfect timing with that, because of course, if you can, you want to get that Orca strike when there is a harvester or 2 waiting around here, so that that splash damage does some killing, or does some damage as well. Probably won't kill them unless they are already low on HP, but actually Bikerush dumping a lot of money into anti-air, which means he does not have much of a ground army, which is kind of okay, because Tomer doesn't have much of a ground army either, and he doesn't have much in the way of an army besides his Storm Riders. But Tomer is going to be expanding to his third right about now. Yes, going to be dropping that drone ship down over there, and he is up to 3, and it does look like 7 harvesters over here, and probably 1, or actually no harvesters over here. He could transfer 1 just to harvest that little bit in a minute or so when there's a bit more Tiberium. Dropping down that Ichor seed, pretty good there. That was definitely worth it, and he could have dropped his drone ship down over here, and actually, So he is going to be going for an expansion, but it does look like he is off doing something else. Microing his Storm Riders, actually getting caught by, oh man, by these perfect placement of the slingshots by Bikerush, and we are now up to the tech center, and it does look like he is probably going to be getting that railgun upgrade, which is of course very good for those Titans, but also good for Mammoth tanks, and it does look like he is just going to be going for Behemoths, and no infantry squads inside of them, but he is going to be expanding to his third base, and these Devour tanks are going to get caught out of position. They need to do as much damage as they can before they get taken out, which actually this Firehawk is going to be doing something else, so never mind about that. If they can just kind of run around this Behemoth before it takes them out, then they may be able to do some damage, or if they can, you know, get in too close to the Behemoth for it to fire and then avoid getting stepped on, they might be able to do some serious damage. But one of the Devour tanks does go down with very minimal losses from Bikerush. Bikerush not doing too bad. He does have that tungsten shell upgrade, which is actually probably what he bought, and not the railguns. That's actually with his army composition. He does not need the railguns upgrade. Wouldn't be a bad idea to, I was going to say take it out, but capturing it is even better. Oh, we do have a Warp Chasm and not an expansion so far going down for Tomer. Tomer needs to get an expansion up pretty quickly, though, because he is basically out of Tiberium. And, you know, one Tiberium Spike. Tiberium Spikes are great, but Reaper Tripods are even better. But Tiberium Spikes cannot fund your army. You need to expand. Tomer will, of course, be doing that. He's probably building that right now. He is, of course, as you can see, got no money. And, oh, a Firehawk going to be here. One Firehawk is not going to be enough to do very much damage, but it looks like this actually might just be a scouting Firehawk. He's trying to find the best target. Might be going for this cluster of Reaper Tripods. Firehawks do not do very much damage. Verse is units, though. They do better versus buildings, and Bikerush was able to grab that Tiberium Spike, giving one to each player. He, of course, does not get that 500 credits cash back like Tomer did, because losing those 2 engineers plus Tomer grabbing both of those Tiberium Spikes gave him a very slight economic advantage in conjunction with some other things. But we do have the Eradicator Hexapod out now, and do we have any infantry? I do not see any infantry squads to garrison inside of it, so maybe he's just going to be going for a vanilla Eradicator Hexapod, which is, of course, very, very unusual to see. You normally do not see... Whoa! Oh my gosh! Let's silence Skype there. Wow, that was incredibly loud. So, anyways, we do not normally see Eradicator Hexapods out like this, but we do have Firehawks in force, which this is definitely enough to do some serious damage, take down that Warp Chasm, do some serious damage to the drone platform. But we do now have the Stasis Chamber, most likely going to be going for that refinery, actually, but he is going to be going for those Shock Troopers. And what are the Reaper Tripods doing up here? They are taking a little bit of damage. Of course, they do have those shields, which can absorb one EMP blast or some fire from the enemy, and he has gotten that AP ammo upgrade, which, of course, makes those... AP ammo is just so good. It makes your watchtowers so much better, especially versus some of the lighter units. And actually, without any of the AA batteries here, but of course the slingshots will be able to catch these, taking so much damage, these Storm Riders. I was going to say without the AA batteries, he could harass over here, although that is a lot of rocket troopers. They would be able to lock that down pretty quickly. Plus, with the mobile, with the, you know, just the mobility of those slingshots, they can, of course, swing down to that expansion and do some serious damage to those Storm Riders, or any of the Storm Riders. And actually getting the Firehawks clumped up, that's not really something you can control, but if you... Oh my gosh, you saw how much damage that did. Absolutely crazy, though. So that Storm Column placement was basically perfect, but we do have probably Shockwave Artillery going to be going down over here. No, they're going to be going down somewhere else. Oh, locking down the Eradicator Hexapod. Something's going on up here, but with these Corruptors here healing it up, they are going to be doing just fine and able to take out that airfield and able to lock down all these Behemoths as well. So these two armies are actually Behemoths almost getting locked out of those states at the exact same time, but these Reaper Tripods need to come down here, run over some stuff, run over these rocket squads, and start helping out this Eradicator Hexapod, able to run over one of those Behemoths. But can he clean up these infantry, which are going to be doing quite a bit of damage? But these Behemoths cannot get out of the way fast enough. They are just getting crushed by this Eradicator Hexapod. We could really use some EMP grenades, which I'm actually not even sure if they have that upgrade, because Steel Talon's infantry absolutely suck. But that is, of course, would be great. And dropping that that slingshot right there and losing a couple of Eradicator Hexapods himself. Not Eradicator Hexapods, losing a single Reaper Tripod, but those Reaper Tripods are going to be doing okay. And good move from Bikerush, refocusing all of his units on these Reaper Tripods once he saw that, hey, this Eradicator Hexapod is currently invincible. It cannot fire, it still can crush stuff, but it is invincible. He needs to be sure to grab these Reaper Husks, because they are, of course, pretty darn good, and only 500 credits with those engineers, and as you can see, he's probably going to be grabbing the Behemoths first, and then going for those Reaper Tripods, which is, of course, a very smart move by Bikerush, and actually going to be selling off his barracks, getting that cash back, and then getting his economy online, and he does look like to be up to 7 Harvesters, which, in a lot of longer games like this, you tend to see 10, 11, 12 Harvesters by this point, but we are going to be seeing 3 and an additional 5 up here, and 2 more down here, which will give us 11 plus 12 total, which is a little bit more what you would expect to see. This is just the 7 right here, which I guess I didn't check the other Tiberium fields, but we do have a total of 9 going to be going down for Bikerushownz. Bikerushownz does have a pretty crazy army, and we should be seeing a pretty crazy army from Tomer as well, which means hopefully we can see a pretty awesome epic battle, and that slingshot was an absolute free kill, which in this stage of the game with this Tiberium drying up, free kills are of course great. And also, I never mentioned this, but that Eradicator Hexapod was getting a lot of cashback rebates on these units that it was stepping on, that it was crushing, that it was killing, which is a pretty big deal, because even if it's only 150 credits at a time, that stuff adds up, especially once this Tiberium starts disappearing, and these Tiberium spikes will become more and more important because there's just far less amount of money on the map. But with this Marv coming out, which means any groups of Tiberium like this will be able to be very quickly harvested by Bikerush, and going for the Harvester harassment, this is of course very annoying, losing a Harvester full of Tiberium, and you do not get that back. You do get a little bit of a crystal that grows up there, but we do have the Eradicator Hexapod, and actually much of this base was cleared out. If you missed it, the airfield did go down. Actually, I think I mentioned that, so never mind. Maybe if you were not listening. Anyways, we do have the Eradicator Hexapod going to be supported by a couple of units, and these Behemoths are now in range, probably going to be firing at the Corruptors. Yes, will be able to kill maybe one. No, actually not able to do enough damage there. I guess I could turn health bars on. We're able to clear out one, and these Orcas are going to be able to do fair amounts of damage. They need to be going for the Corruptors that can't fire back. But, oh, able to get 2 of the Orcas there. As you can see, that was 330 credits there for Tomer that he got cash back just straight up, and Bikerush is going to need to take care of these Corruptors, and Tomer, of course, wants to have the Eradicator Hexapod taking the damage and also getting healed up, and these, going to be getting the orbital down, or the orbital strike going down, and of course he already used, but the shockwave artillery is coming in as well. Of course, it's better to have the shockwave artillery hit first, and then you can lock it down and use that orbital strike. But the Mechapedes are going to be able to, cleaning everything up over here, and the Mechapedes are going to be able to do quite a bit of damage to these infantry. It seems like they have a lot of anti-infantry segments in them, going to be able to clean up the heavy infantry composition of Bikerush's force, but these Juggernauts, these Behemoths are really going to be doing the damage, and they need to be focused down as soon as possible. Let the Shardwalkers and the Mechapedes deal with the infantry while he goes for the Behemoths, and also the Reaper Tripod, which was recaptured, and the Orca Strike completely missing. And it's hard to tell. I would say a slight advantage going to Tomer, but Bikerush might still be able to pull out the win in this one. And of course, Tomer, the Marv, I forgot the Marv. We do have an Engineer and 2 Rocket Squads, so, of course he has Steel Talons, which means no Zone Troopers or Zone Raiders. But we do have the Eradicator Hexapod going to be getting cash back for Tomer, which is, of course, very important because there's even less Tiberium now. But this Marv, in conjunction with these base defenses, might be able to clean this up, and with so many infantry, so many things to attack. But actually, power is now down for just a moment for Bikerush, and this Eradicator Hexapod is looking to be trapped, and no way to get him out of there. Maybe if he can get that phase field going on. Yes, right there, phase field rigs up, and that is going to be it for the Eradicator Hexapod. It should be able to walk on out of there, and as you saw, crushing those Behemoths, getting himself $300 every time. That was 600 credits for crushing those 2 Behemoths, but one Reaper Tripod Husk remains. It wouldn't be a bad idea to run that over and step on it to crush it, to prevent the capture of it. But this Eradicator Hexbot actually might not be able to escape because the Marv moves fairly quickly and moves about at the same speed of that Eradicator Hexbot under the phase field, and that Reaper Husk did in fact go down. But now we do have Wolverines this late in the game, not something you would expect to see. And where are the Orcas? They are off doing something Orca-like. Actually going to be going for the Reaper Tripods, doing quite a bit of damage to the Reaper Tripods. Might be able to get one, and they should be able to clean one out. Yes, take one down, which that is a pretty big deal. And the Eradicator Hexbot goes down right in a moment here, where right there, waiting for that to finish so that I didn't look like I didn't know what I was talking about, even though I don't know what I'm talking about. So anyways, we do have the Tripods locking, EMPing that Behemoth, because when they do get close enough, they of course do have that EMP ability, locks down any sort of units. But now these tripods are kind of a long way off, especially with the slow assimilators from Tomer. But Tomer is going to be cleaning up his husks like a proper player, and actually not going to be able to get it. He might be able to kill off an Orca or two, not able to get a single Orca, but these husks are now going to be guarded. And where's the barracks? Here's the barracks with the engineers, of course, combat engineers, because he is Steel Talons. But we do have the Wolverine going to be engaging these Mechapedes and going to get cleaned up quite quickly. And yes, these actually, he might be able to snipe this engineer if he can. That will be quite annoying, because that will be 500 credits down the drain. And then he actually lost a Mechapede there and one of the Reaper Husks as well, and able to not take out the third Reaper Husk. So two of the Reaper Husks do go down, and this Behemoth is going to take quite a bit of damage and glitch into the ground there. But another Mechapede does go down. Of course, focus firing down on the head of the Mechapede is the way to go, but it can be pretty difficult to do. If he could take out this tech center, that would be a pretty big deal. Pretty annoying. Going to be selling off that power plant, which actually power blocked him. But we do have the Mechapedes going to be moving down here, and they do have quite a few of the anti-air segments in them, and actually taking a lot of damage from these Orcas. Doing the damage to that watchtower is probably not what they want to be doing, but these Mechapedes will get cleaned up. And Tomer, what has he got? Follow this up. He does have another Eradicator Hexbot, and this Mechapede will get cleaned up without doing too much damage. As you can see, those watchtowers, even though they are just those tier 1 base events, they do quite a bit of damage. And of course, those Mechapede segments are not free to replace, so money going down the drain for Tomer. But Tomer doing a good job using that Icar seed as soon as he can, getting more and more money. And also, both of these players have been able to keep their Tiberium spikes, so no Tiberium spikes sniping for either of these players. And the preemptive firing of the Corruptors, one last Mechapede does go down, and this Reaper Tripod will get taken out, and some of these Harvesters might get taken out as well. And Bikerush needs to re-expand to these bases, as they do have quite a few credits worth of Tiberium there. And one of the Reaper Tripods does go down, and these Wolverines should be able to finish off that Harvester and possibly take out some more. What does Tomer have to deal with it? His Eradicator Hexbot is up here. He is putting more Shock Troopers into that. It does look like he has 2 squads in there already, going to be getting that 3rd squad, and sniping Harvester after Harvester, which is not usually as big of a deal in the late game, but these Harvesters are full of Tiberium, and considering how little there is left on the map, that is a big deal. This Behemoth's actually doing more harm than good, hitting a couple of rocket squads there, but it does look like they have gotten their heads back on straight, and not actually taking down that plasma missile battery, which looks like the Behemoth is going to be on cleanup duty. And Bikerush might be able to clean Tomer out here. Tomer just might not have enough money to bring out the win here, but he is still mining a little bit, at least harvesting a little bit. But a storm column going to be going up and taking down that Behemoth. But the tech center has gone down, which means no more Eradicator Hexbot, no more tripods, and oh, the Orcas, and one of them is heroic, that heroic Orca, and the Corruptors getting all but one taken out, and which means this Eradicator actually stands a pretty good chance of surviving versus and killing this Marv. He needs to turn his units around, but they're getting attacked by a Mechapede to support the Marv so that it does not get taken out, as that would be a nice CAC bounty. for Tomer, and Tomer getting a little bit of cash back there on the infantry, and the Wolverines going down quite quickly, and this Eradicator Hexbot, of course, very powerful, and this Mechapede doing damage to the rear armor, as well as its micro, and doesn't get run over, will, of course, be very effective, actually, depending on which sort of segments he has on there. But the Eradicator Hexbot going to be going for that Marv, and actually, the Marv is definitely worse off, but it was the Eradicator Hexbot wasn't really attacking for a couple of moments there, and if this Corruptor can stay alive in the Storm Tower, even getting in on the action, and now the Marv is super heavily damaged, it is pretty heavily damaged, but the Orcas are here to save the day, and they need to be going for that Corruptor, of course, and now the Eradicator might, in fact, get taken out, but the Mechapede, no, this Marv is going to go down first, the Mechapede is going to be here, and I do not think he will get the cash back on that, and look at how much damage that Mechapede was taking. The Marv has been taken out, but also up here, Tomer taking quite a bit of damage from these rocket squads, and will he have enough? This Corruptor will get taken out fairly quickly, but with the Storm Column here, and he could drop down a Buzzer Hive or two just to distract him, and it does look like he is going to be going for. He did use that Swarm support power, which does spawn, I do believe, 5 Buzzer Hives, Buzzer Squads, which were able to do quite a bit of damage. And what do we have over here? A single Wolverine, being the hero Wolverine, taking on the entire army of the Skrin himself. Tomer needs to do something about that because, I would say the hero unit, but actually microing that to the back side of that extractor so that it cannot be damaged by that lightning spike. Tomer needs to take that out before it takes out his extractor, or he needs to just sell off the extractor instead of just losing it. But Tomer still has quite a few harvesters, so doing damage to those harvesters was annoying, but we do have the Tech Lab might get targeted by this Mechapede up here, but it wouldn't matter because the Marv is going to finish, and you don't need that Tech Lab anyway. But sniping these harvesters will be slightly annoying. It's not a huge deal just because they are not all being used, of course. If they are full of Tiberium, then it is a huge deal because not very much money left on this map. Needs to be going for the damage one, although with the way that they're stacking, going to be doing some extra damage anyways, and going for the one with more Tiberium, always a good choice. But with the Orcas are here, and that heroic Orca does so much damage, the segments on that Mechapede getting taken out so quickly and only being able to be rebuilt not fast enough because Bikerush was able to focus fire down on the head of that Mechapede. All of these harvesters for Tomer, none of them really doing all that much. Although it's the same situation for Bikerush, but we do have the Marv out now, going for 3 engineers, so no additional firepower for the Marv, but it does look like he might be stopping, waiting for one more infantry unit. He's probably going to be going for that rocket squad, going to be throwing that inside of that Marv, and the Behemoths are going to be moving out for support, and then of course the Orcas. So this game is going to be going on, and the Eradicator Hexbot is right here, and this Eradicator Hexbot is going to get locked down by this Shockwave Artillery. Yes, the EMPs are quite good, and catching a couple of the Corruptors in there as well, and all of the Corruptors, I do think. No, the Stasis Field goes down at just the right time, saving that Eradicator Hexapod, but not the other units around it, and we do have, they come back out of the EMP and immediately get killed, all except for that one Corruptor who will be reverse moving on out of here and not able to do anything else. What we do, it looks like Orbital Bombardment is going to be affecting this Eradicator Hexbot as soon as he shows up, or no, it is going to be an Orca Strike instead, which will do quite a bit of damage, and that Eradicator Hexbot goes down, breaking into pieces, and this Marv is now in free reign because it will take quite a long time. Did he ever rebuild that technology assembler? I do not think he did. So Tomer is going to have to do that, but Bikerush is now in not too bad of shape, although I would not count Tomer out as at this point. Tomer is a pretty strong player and he can still make a comeback, but on the other hand, Bikerush could just totally crush Tomer in these last few minutes. And Orcas are going to be moving out, Behemoths, Wolverines, of course the Marv, and a Grenadier squad, which is quite low on life, but they're all there, so kind of curious. But we do have the Stasis Chamber still here, which means we could still see no, not enough money. Probably trying to go for that technology assembler, but he just does not have the cash. Not the player I want. Yes, going for that technology assembler so that he can get his Eradicator Hexapod back out. But it does look like worst mate forever, aka Tomer, is not going to be in too good of shape with this army closing in on him, and he does not have a whole lot to deal with it. The Orca's doing absolutely massive amounts of damage to that extractor. with that heroic Orca being able to lend its hand. But Storm Riders are here, but also Slingshots are here, and if they can clean up the Slingshots, then they will be able to rain fire, rain lasers down on this army. But Tomer just doesn't have a whole lot left, although he does have this base down here, so if it comes into a base race situation, Bikerushownz has far more firepower and possibly far more money, although probably not too much more money. Not going for the Tiberium Spike, although it's not really all that important. Going to be going for that Stasis Chamber a little bit, but more Slingshots are here, which means these Storm Riders will get cleaned up. Actually, they will escape on out of there, but they are not going to be able to do too much more damage with all of the Slingshots here. So Tomer looking to be in quite a bit of trouble, as his MCV did get sold off and selling off the Warp Chasm as well, and he may just be going for a fire sale, selling everything off. Not quite, so he is possibly going to try and pump out a bunch of infantry. Actually, he's not building anything currently. Maybe he's trying to go for a drone ship comeback, although these players might just be chatting it up in the chat. Quite frankly, they're going to be chatting it up in the chat if they chat it up anywhere. As you can see, Tomer is not doing anything at all, which means he's probably doing some typing, and of course we do not see those, but the Storm Riders are going to be attacking, engaging these Slingshots, and getting taken out quite quickly, so Bikerush should be able to clean this game up from this point on. Tomer fought a good fight, had the advantage at one point or another, was doing quite good on his economy. Bikerush able to bring it out for this game, and the last power plant. Woo! Worst mate forever has been defeated, so Bikerushownz, congratulations to him, but Worst mate forever played very strongly, without a doubt, and of course playing that Reaper 17 and the other faction, Steel Talons, yes, whatever that is. But we do have, look at that resource graph, worst mate forever. The economy was absolutely booming, so, you know, this is like the Roaring 20s if you're an American and you get that reference. If you're somewhere else in the world, I don't know what your economic situation is, but we do have the unit kill to death ratio. Not super important, but sometimes it is in the victor's favor. Of course, for Bikerush, able to come out ahead in that. Rifleman Squad being his favorite unit, kind of surprising there. But that will about do it for this game. Such an awesome game. I hope you enjoyed it. This is Sybert, signing out.